Abaxx Technologies, ticker ABXXF, a $300 million market cap operator of a fully licensed commodity futures exchange and clearinghouse in Singapore, just released their Q3 2024 operations update. In this video, we'll be reviewing the progress the company's made since launching their exchange in June. If you're just starting to learn about this stock, then I'd recommend first heading over to my newsletter on Substack, where I've previously released an over 30-page write-up on the investment thesis for this company. Link in the description. With that out of the way, the most important updates we need to see from Abaxx right now are their progression with onboarding more market participants onto the exchange. And we're seeing the ecosystem slowly start to take shape here. The snowball towards reinforcing network effects is just starting to roll down the hill. Management has confirmed that Mizuho, the largest financier and futures commission merchant in the LNG market, has been onboarded so their clients can trade on the exchange. This was the big event that investors who understand the story were waiting for. Mizuho is one of Japan's 3 megabanks, and Asia is a key market for LNG. With Mizuho onboarded, the access to Abaxx's products has expanded greatly and will continue to grow over time as more FCMs are onboarded. It will take time to get trading firms connected and transacting through block trades, so don't expect this to be a very fast process. It'll take at least 6 to 12 months to really ramp up exchange trading, for sure, but the foundation's being laid. Abaxx has onboarded 3 full FCMs, StoneX, KGI, and ADM Investor Services. The 2 additional clearing firms are Marex and Mizuho, which is also their first bank FCM. And they also expect another FCM to be onboarded by the end of the year, which will put us up to 6 partial or full FCMs involved. 2 more bank FCMs are in progress to be onboarded, and 3 additional clearing firms are gearing up to onboard in 2025. 6 merchant trading firms are onboarded, with 16 more in progress. 9 financial trading and market makers are onboarded, with 10 more in progress, and 10 inter-dealer brokers are onboarded, with 5 more in progress. As you can see, Abaxx is starting to make some real strides in getting firms connected, and that'll be the story for 2025. Expanding connectivity to the exchange, and then 2026 will be about really ramping up those trading volumes as Abaxx's markets continue to grow. Many of the additional firms in progress are waiting for the launch of Abaxx's battery metal futures contracts that should be coming soon. To incentivize traders to start using Abaxx's contracts, the company is offering trading rebates, so Abaxx will not be generating any revenue from its trading volumes until at least Q1, if not later. This is extremely common in the futures industry when launching new contracts, so it's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's worth noting that Abaxx won't be making much revenue right now, even if trading volumes were to grow substantially. It was confirmed on Abaxx's investor call that both the nickel sulfate and lithium carbonate futures contracts have been finalized and submitted to the MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore. It has actually been cleared up to me that the contracts don't actually need approval from the MAS. They really just want to see the specifications and they might make some comments, but the MAS doesn't actually need to grant approval for anything. The timeline as to when these contracts get released is entirely dependent on when Abaxx and the trading firms are ready to use them. The company has continued to clarify that none of these futures products are being created in a vacuum. Customers are begging for these futures contracts. The lithium carbonate contract, for example, has no real competitors. Most existing contracts are financially settled, and the only one that is physically settled, meaning the buyer of that contract can take physical delivery of the lithium carbonate at expiration, is traded on the GFEX exchange in China, which many traders around the world won't be able to touch or find relevant anyway. And there are a variety of opportunities for new futures contracts like this, given that the large existing commodity futures exchange incumbents like CME and ICE have largely avoided creating new physically settled futures. Abaxx is confident both the nickel sulfate and lithium carbonate contracts should be released before the end of the year, or very early Q1. Management has mentioned that they'll probably have to launch those contracts with low levels of liquidity at the start, as they did with LNG and carbon, because many traders can only push their organizations to begin using those products when it's already available and ready. If a contract hasn't been launched yet, then few organizations are willing to allocate resources to get connected and ready beforehand. Gold is also another offering that Abaxx has been working on that should be released in Q1 if timelines hold. In its update, Abaxx mentioned that they're working on allowing multiple currencies for collateral and settlement, and gold might actually be one of the potential ways to settle trades, so firms won't necessarily need to settle in dollars. The company's also teased that more metal futures contracts and potential weather derivatives are now in the works as well. Something interesting Abaxx mentioned in their update was that the company is preparing to file an application with the CFTC in the US to obtain a Foreign Board of Trade registration, which is allowed in cooperation with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is seen as a comparable and stringent financial regulator. With that registration, ABXX could offer derivatives trading to market participants in the United States, potentially even without receiving additional costly and time-consuming regulatory licenses. This would allow firms to trade directly from the United States and could open up liquidity on the exchange pretty drastically. This process typically takes around 6 to 12 months, and hopefully we see it happen closer to that 6-month time frame so more traders can come in by next summer. On the technology front, ABXX has started to launch some of its ID++ products in the public sphere. They released ABXX Verifier Plus on October 8th on the Apple and Google stores. Verifier is a digital identity and access management application for securing identity verification. The ABXX Messenger tool had phase 1 of its production deployed, integrating Verifier Plus and full end-to-end encryption for messaging. Together, those applications, among others, are implemented into both the Smarter Markets Coffeehouse social media platform, and users of the Futures Exchange can utilize these products as well. Really, the main goal of the ID++ technology suite, as I outlined in my Substack write-up, is to provide more secure systems for identity verification, document storage, messaging, and more. The Futures Exchange and Clearinghouse represent ways that ABXX is rolling out these products to test with customers, and to eventually allow the company to monetize these technologies further down the line, although it's unclear how ABXX plans on generating revenue from ID++ for now. ABXX's CEO, Josh Crum, mentioned that the technology development and commercialization roadmap is set to be finalized in 2025. This includes the eventual creation of smart pricing for commodities and full digital title. Crum teased that the company plans on launching 2 new software innovations in the coming year that would separate ABXX from any other technology company out there right now, and this might be what he's referring to. I won't get into all the details in this video, as I already covered them on Substack, so again, check that out to learn more about them. Since developing new software can get increasingly expensive, ABXX mentioned on their investor call that they're exploring different ways to potentially fund the tech side of the business. Some common theories on what this might mean is a potential spin-out like what we saw with Base Carbon, or raising additional funds at the subsidiary level to avoid diluting the holding company's stock. ABXX also released their Q3 financials. As of September 30th, 2024, the exchange has not had much time to ramp up yet, and still hasn't, so revenue isn't going to be anything worth mentioning really. Only around $400,000 right now, and all these numbers are going to be in Canadian dollars. ABXX has $25 million in net working capital, so since I'm writing this in November, removing share-based comp, the cash burn of the company's operations is around $7.5 million. If they still need around $18 to $20 million for regulatory requirements, then the company's running quite low on funds at this point. With that said, they've raised some extra capital in a few ways. They recently raised around $2 million with a strategic investor. ABXX took another temporary loan from Base Carbon for an additional $1.4 million. And the company also has options expiring on December 13th, 2024, that will give the company another $4.5 million in proceeds if they're all exercised at a price of $10.95, and those are still in the money at the moment. The additional capital they've raised and will likely receive from the options should give them until towards the end of Q1, so another couple of months of runway left before they have to raise more money. As I mentioned, ABXX is exploring different ways to fund the tech side of the business, and they're still in negotiations for another strategic financing at the exchange subsidiary level, meaning ABXX plans to bring in additional strategic investors and give them some equity in the exchange instead of diluting the public company's stock. It's also worth noting that ABXX has prolonged its close on the potential increase in ownership of MineHub to 19.99%. ABXX will either pay MineHub $3 million for shares or issue an additional 237,000 shares to MineHub by December 31st, 2024. That will likely end up getting settled through share dilution, but we'll see if the company raises additional funds by then and wants to buy MineHub shares with cash instead. Yeah, we'll see. As far as the next catalyst coming up for ABXX, getting Mizuho clients onboarded was a big deal. With that said, even with Mizuho allowed to trade on the exchange now, that doesn't necessarily mean all the infrastructure is ready quite yet either. So it's a time-consuming process, but progress is being made slowly but surely. In 2025, we should get more market participants onboarded with liquidity ramping up, more contracts, and expansion into additional markets with things like the CFTC FBOT license, in addition to getting more details about their plans for the tech side of the business. So 2025 is when things are really going to start ramping up for ABXX. And if you'd like to receive more updates about the company and learn about other investment opportunities in green markets, then subscribe to my channel and check out my newsletter on Substack as well. Link in the description. Thanks for watching.